Hello and welcome to the Giraffe Social Media Podcast. It's what social media managers are talking about. I'm Ellie and today I'm joined by Jack and Alicia. Coming up on this week's episode, we'll be discussing if organic social media can survive without paid promotions. Plus, we'll discuss our top tips and advice on how businesses can integrate both methods into their social strategy. Social media as a marketing strategy is a very powerful tool, and when used right, it can be a game changer for a lot of businesses. Paid and organic social media are different tools best harnessed for different goals. First of all, let's discuss what exactly each of them is. An organic social media strategy is any social activity that occurs that doesn't include any paid promotion, just the free content that all users can view and share on their feeds to grow your social presence. Examples of that include stories, photos, videos, memes, etc. to increase the awareness for your brand without paying any budget towards the social media platform itself. And on the other hand, paid social media is the method of displaying advertisements or sponsored content for a marketing purpose on social media platforms. Brands can use this method to increase specific KPIs such as reach, impressions, engagement, conversions, and so on. The use of paid ads have become increasingly important over the past few years due to the increase in online shopping channels. Therefore, paid ads have naturally become a larger part of brands' social media efforts. So, enough about that intro. I'm going to throw it over to you guys. What do you both think? Do you believe that organic social media can survive without paid ads? I mean, Jack, do you want to go first as you run paid ads yourself?
So, with the organic side, the main aspect of that is what it does is it builds up credibility for a brand. Now, you can have an organic social media side without the paid advertising, but you cannot have the paid side without the organic. And what I mean by that is if you're running paid ads and you're targeting certain demographics, the type of people, your target market or your buyer personas that you're looking for, now, you might reach a certain amount of people, whether that's through sort of growth ads or whether you're trying to get traffic onto the website or whether you're trying to convert that traffic. But you are going to lose a lot of these potential followers or a lot of this potential business if you don't have a sustainable, organic social media page as it is. Because what you'll find people doing is they might go onto your website, they might have a look, think, oh, it looks very professional, it looks good. But then if your actual social media page has no credibility, then you're going to get a huge drop off. Because people nowadays look, whether it's on Instagram or, for example, the Instagram blue tick is a huge sign of credibility nowadays, especially for the bigger brands. But you look at LinkedIn, any of these social media pages, and they're all very, very sort of kept up to date, or decent brands are. And if you find a brand that isn't kept up to date, then it just puts doubt in the consumer's mind. So that is why it's important to have that organic side. But the issue is if you are just going organic, it's a lot harder to build up followers. To get a sustainable social media page, you need an increase of followers continually. Now, unless you've got 200, 300, 400,000 people already following you, you are going to need these paid ads to continue to boost your following, basically, because otherwise your posts aren't going to reach enough people. You're not going to hit the right audience, and as a result, it's just going to stagnate. And what you'll end up finding is you still have the same followers you've had for months and years, who are slowly going to drop off because they've seen the same sort of content for years and years. It hasn't been updated so much. But even if it has been updated, they will lose interest, or your business might not be suitable to them anymore. So to even keep up with the amount of people you've already got, you do need some paid ads. So I think unless you are a huge brand with hundreds of thousands of followers, I think it is vitally important.
I 100% agree. I mean, just going off what you were saying, is I was kind of reading earlier about like various statistics and stuff. And recent research found that Facebook's newsfeed algorithm restricts the average visibility of non-promoted content to 5.2%. So you got to think, like, in the big picture, that's a really small percentage of people that are actually viewing kind of organic content without the paid promotion on the side. So I think you're right, it's a really big element that you need to kind of incorporate into your social strategy.
Yeah.
Alicia?
Yeah, no, I was just going to go off of Jack as well. I think I completely agree with you. I do think that a business can run on organic, obviously, but I don't think it just depends on how long it can
Mm-hmm.
run. Like Jack said, like obviously the organic is the brand personality, it's the voice, it's something that, like, you know, when you're generating leads, it's something that they can look at. They can look at the performance and whatnot and how you can reach your audience. Whereas obviously with ads, with the limited knowledge I know about them, it obviously creates like a larger reach of your audience. I mean, from what I've gathered, it's more of an expansion of the audience that you already have. So yeah, I guess I think it could, but it's
Mm-hmm.
just like a very limited amount, I guess.
The social media algorithms are constantly changing, and businesses and kind of us as social media managers, we're having to kind of keep up with that change, and obviously make frequent changes to our organic social media strategies to remain competitive. I mean, I know we've spoken on the podcast before about how there's, you know, it is such a competitive market, and so many businesses and brands are jumping on social media, especially over like the pandemic as well. So there's even more competition to kind of keep relevant and obviously keep followers, as Jack was saying. Like, you know, followers are dropping off. But yeah, it's definitely important to kind of have paid ads, especially if you are noticing that kind of drop off with your organic social media.
Yeah, well, with the organic social media, like I said, it is certainly possible to grow it, but you've got to have that backing behind it in the first place. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I think with the way Facebook's going in particular, you look on your personal news feed, and it is just full of paid ads. So even to
Yeah.
see any organic posts from your friends, it seems very very difficult. Um, Now I don't know which way Facebook's going to go, because there are going to be people that stop using Facebook because they're fed up with the ads. It will get to a stage potentially where it will be too much for them. So people start then sort of leaving those social media sites, which is then when you look at like
Mm-hmm.
sort of TikTok or even Instagram, where there are less adverts on there that people might sort of prioritize. Um,
Yeah.
so it's not just about sort of whether you're going to use paid ads. It's where you're going to use paid ads, when you're going to use them, how you're going to use them, because there's a million different options out there,
Yeah.
and a lot of it is going to be trial and error and reaching those demographics that you want.
I mean, I think oversaturation, which you kind of have touched on just there, is like a really big thing at the moment. And you know, I'm noticing, like you said, on your social media feeds, it is just inundated with paid ads. And obviously, you know, the people running those paid ads, you know, they're targeting perfectly, and I'm usually a sucker for getting drawn into them. But it's kind of like having that fine line and the balance between your paid and kind of organic social media. And you're exactly right, Jack, when you said that you need to kind of tailor your ads to specific social platforms. Like, you don't want to be advertising or even organically posting on every single platform, because that's not going to work for everyone, and you need to kind of tailor your content accordingly to each social media platform and what's kind of relevant to your target audience.
Yeah, because you've got to look at, especially if you're trying to get sales or revenue off of the adverts. You don't want to, let's say you're trying to sell computer hardware, you're not going to be looking to advertise on
Mm-hmm.
TikTok, are you? Because the demographic there is a lot younger than the people you might be looking for. So Facebook might be ideal for that. So you might end up
Mm-hmm.
spending £1,000 on TikTok adverts but getting nowhere. Whereas if you'd repurpose that £1,000 to Facebook instead, your sort of return on ad spend could be a lot better. So I think it's just being intelligent about where you're advertising to and who you're aiming for.
I mean, I don't know about you guys, but typically before I kind of make any big purchases, I will kind of look on a brand social media page and see if there's any sort of like user generated content, or see if there's any reviews. So I think it is, like you've all said, I think it is really key to have that organic social media presence. And if that works for you and you see like growth throughout your brand and you see growth on your social media pages, then obviously stick to that organic strategy. Like, we're not forcing paid ads. We're just saying it's a good complementary addition to your social strategy.
Yeah. Yeah, and done properly, you'll see the returns on it. But that's why it is important to use people that do know how to do it properly, and know where and how to target it. Because
Mm.
if you're shooting it in the dark, you're going to get inconsistent results, and you're not going to make most of your money. Whereas if you do know what you're doing and how to do it, then you are going to maximise the benefits.
Yeah, and also organic social media typically doesn't cost money.
Mm.
So that's a massive bonus. Like Alicia's already said, it's a much more authentic way to kind of reach your target audience, and they'll see that as well through your posting and what content you put out there. While organic social content and paid social campaigns are useful on their own, they work better together. Combining an organic social approach with paid advertising can help your brand gain more followers, see an increase in engagement, reach larger audiences, and even support other digital marketing strategies. Now it's time for our tips and tricks segment, where we share what we've learned in the world of social media and how you can apply it to your social strategy. Now we've discussed whether we think organic social media can survive without paid promotions, it's time for us to provide you with some of our top tips and advice for how businesses can integrate both organic and paid social media into their social strategy. So, Alicia, do you want to kick us off with your top tip?
I would say my tip would be to use your best performing content as your startup ads, if you'd say, considering if they're working well for your audience at the minute, and if you're going to target the audience you already have, then I would say why not reach further on for the same audience.
Yeah, that's a really, really great idea, and obviously capitalizing on what's already got a really good kind of like return on engagement and stuff like that is definitely worth trialing in your ads as well, and then hopefully it will boost it even further. What about you, Jack? What is your top tip?
So my top tip, if you're going to integrate both your organic and your paid ads, keep your pages up to date. Because when you're running these growth adverts, you're getting more people to come and join your page. They have to have a reason to click like and stick around. So as long as you're keeping up with engaging content on the regular that is important and interesting to the consumer themselves, then you will not only keep that prospective consumer, but you'll also build a bigger relationship through their friends, family, people on their timeline, and anyone they may speak to.
I mean, I think just going off what you said there as well is it's important to kind of make sure that your messaging is aligned across both paid and organic socials as well, because it's no good if you're kind of saying one thing or you've got completely different branding on your paid ads, but then when they go over to your your Facebook page, for example, and it looks completely different, then it just doesn't align. So it just needs to be really consistent. I think that's a very key takeaway there as well.
Indeed.
But my proper top tip, is to target your ads to people similar to your organic audience. So kind of similar to what Alicia was saying. But obviously, the more you've grown your social media presence organically, the more data that the social platforms will have, and we can sort of capitalize on that to either retarget the audiences. It's kind of dependent on what KPIs you're really trying to focus on or increase. But especially for conversions, you can kind of retarget people who have visited your social media pages or retarget those who have visited your website. Or you can build what we call lookalike audiences that are based on the people who have already organically seen your content, whether that's on your Facebook page, Instagram page, etc. And that's a really good way to kind of reach similar audiences that are like your target audiences that you want to be reaching. So yeah, that is my top tip.
Yeah, I'd agree with that one, because there would have been a reason that your current audience have followed you. So if we are looking at people who are, like the word says, look alike, then there's absolutely no reason why, as long as it's repurposed correctly, there's no reason why they won't follow you too.
Well, that's all that we've got time for today. If you enjoyed this week's episode, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next one. And if you'd like to leave us a review on your favourite podcast app, we'd really appreciate it. We've been Giraffe Social Media, you've been amazing, and we'll see you next time.